In a dramatic escalation, Iran pledges a tit-for-tat response after Australia declares its envoy unwelcome. In a bold move, Australia has designated Iran's ambassador to the nation as persona non grata, a decision that has sparked an intense reaction from Tehran. This development comes amid allegations that Iran orchestrated anti-Semitic assaults within Australian borders. The Australian government asserts that Iran was behind two significant attacks: the torching of a kosher cafe in Sydney last October and a major arson incident at a Melbourne synagogue in December. Thankfully, no lives were lost in these incidents, but the properties suffered substantial damage. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has made it clear that Iran stands accused of directing these acts of violence. In response, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, Ismail Baghai, vehemently denied the allegations, labeling Australia's actions as unjustified. He warned that any diplomatic maneuver would elicit a reciprocal response. Baghai also hinted that Australia's decision might be swayed by internal dynamics, possibly referencing the recent nationwide protests in support of Palestinians, which he believes aim to offset Australia's restrained criticism of Israel. Al Jazeera's correspondent in Tehran, Tauhid Asadi, interprets Australia's actions as a continuation of its adversarial stance towards Iran, marked by previous sanctions and now this expulsion. He notes that Iran perceives this move as further evidence of Australia aligning with Israel's interests. The expelled ambassador, Ahmad Sadeghi, is known for his outspoken advocacy for the Palestinian cause. Professor Fouad Izzadi of the University of Tehran suggests that Sadeghi's vocal support for Palestine is the primary rationale behind his expulsion. According to Izzadi, Australia's action reflects a fear of its populace's growing demand for justice in Palestine, highlighted by the record-breaking pro-Palestine demonstrations across the country. Adding fuel to the fire, Albanese announced plans to designate Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, as a terrorist organization. The Australian Security Intelligence Organization is currently probing potential IRGC involvement in additional anti-Semitic attacks since the onset of the conflict in Gaza. Professor Izzadi disputes these claims, arguing that Australia lacks concrete evidence. He posits that the Australian government's actions stem from a growing concern over public scrutiny of its pro-Israel stance and a rising call to take a firmer stand against the situation in Palestine. This latest confrontation between Australia and Iran occurs against a backdrop of deteriorating relations between Australia and Israel. Australia's criticism of Israel's actions and its decision to recognize a Palestinian state alongside France, the UK, and Canada at the UN General Assembly have strained ties. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has criticized Albanese, branding him a weak politician who has betrayed Israel and forsaken Australia's Jewish community. In response, Australia's Minister for Home Affairs, Tony Burke, emphasized that strength is not measured by military might or the ability to inflict suffering, but rather by moral courage and standing up for what is right. This exchange highlights the deepening divide between the two nations and the complexities of international relations in the region.